Okay, welcome to the third third of required express. This required express as like borrowing of a book from a library. So we are telling Node.js, which we installed originally at the beginning during the setup, to load express, which we install using npm install express. The const express part means we are saving this toolbox in a variable called express. So that is what this line of code means. So and for the next one, the one at line 2, const app equals to express open bracket close bracket semicolon. It creates a new express application, like starting a blank project, like for instance like creating a new document in Microsoft Word. So that is what it means. And for the third line of code, is a feature that we add to our app to let it understand the JSON data being sent, because that is what we'll be using for the request and then the response, the JSON format, in a JSON format. So and for the fourth line, we are just like declaring our port number to be 3000. So that would be where we'll be running the back end. So serve as an just like an address. So and then for the app, the sixth line of code, app.listing port, which is the port number we declare above this line, and then we have a console log to show that yeah, it has already started running on port 3000. So I think that is all for the setting up of of these basics. That is the basic setup, setting up of the file. So now what we'll be doing now is we want to be storing our data. Want to be storing our data. So it's part of the CRUD operation. So this is just like crates. So now what I did here, I've already typed it. I created a let. So let means we would modify it later. I'm not using const here. So what I'm doing now is that I created an array of two tags, each with an ID, which is one, and then the next one is two. So the ID is an increment of one. So and also we have the title, and then we have the status, which is done. Is it done? If it's done, it will be true, and if it's not yet done, it would be false. So we don't we supposed to use a database for this, but since we are learning, that is why I decided to just create this a pretend. It's just like as we are pretending is a database. So though even from the database, if you are getting the record, these are how it would be in JSON file and arrays, which is like a collection of all the records. So let's start by doing the gets. Let's start by doing the gets even before moving to post, which is create. So now would be gets, which is fetching of all tags, fetching of all tags. So don't forget we have our app declared, which is in line 2. So app.get. So now we can choose a route. That is the first thing. So let's just use API slash tags. And as I'm typing, I just wanted to remind you, sorry, that I would be using Postman for testing of our APIs. So another thing, I haven't even started running the program, so but I'll do that immediately I'm done with this. So what I just did now was that app.get. So I'm performing the get, which is fetching, and this is the routes you can use to get all the tags. So this is the request parameter, and then this is the response. So for the response, now the request, we are not passing anything because we are just getting. So our response would be res.json and then tags, which we declared up here, tags with x. So as you can see, this tags here would be our initial record. So anytime the user is trying to get all the tags, it would return this by default. Okay, so now what we'll do now is let's move in here. I think we're already running it, but let me run it again. Node server.js. Yeah, so click on enter to run it. So server running on port 3000. Now let's move to Postman to test. So what would be our URL for testing would be this subdomain, and then with the port that is running on. So we would have something like local hosts. Yeah, sorry, local host 3000 slash API slash tags. So definitely when we run the get, would have our results being shown, which is the initial tags we created. So we just need to add this and then get. So as you can see now, we have our results being displayed in JSON format, which is the ID len express done false ID2. So these are the records that are being populated here initially. So as you can see, our get is working. So congratulations to us. Now we'll be moving to post, because let's assume we are trying to add a new tax. So now we're moving to post, adding a new tax. Like I want to do some coding tonight, or I want to do some stuff. So now for this post, some are more complicated than that. So but as you know, our usual method app.post, that is our request type, and then the route for this should be API slash tags. Stay the same too, so it can be the same route, but the only thing is that the request type is different. So if we want to test for the post, we'll have to change this to post. So yeah, so let's proceed. So now then our request and response, and then our arrow function, make things easier. So now what we would do here first is that so what we would do here first is that we would create a new task. So this new task would be what we would be passing. So but I just wanted to let you know that this ID now, you know, when we want to create, we need to pass the ID, we need to pass the title, and then the status. So but there is this thing you need to consider, that this ID should be auto-generated, because most of the form you are filling, you are not sending an ID. So for this, since we don't have any library for now for handling of ID, so we have UUID libraries like for handling of ID. So since we don't have ID now, we'll just use the tax.length, that is the length of the tax, this array. The tax, that is how many objects does it have, how many records. So it has 2. So what you do is that you increase it for each ID, for each new tax we are adding, we will be increasing the ID by 1. So by using this logic, we wouldn't like need anyone passing their ID. So and for the request, so here we do not use any request, because we are just like getting, so we are not passing anything. But here, for you to create a new task, you need to pass the title. So the title you are going to pass would be the one added to this. You understand? Yeah. So and then for the done, by default it will be false, because immediately you are creating a task, is coming in by default as a task that is going to be completed, like a task that you're going to perform, not a task that has been completed. So what we'll do now is task.push, that is this our array that is here. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to push the new task into the array. So let's just see, just like our table, so we're adding a new task to our table. So and then we need to return a response, that status, to show that it has been completed, so which is usually a 2 or 1 code. So and for codes like 500 are for internal code error, and then also we have error 402. So for successful creating of a task is error 201. So then now let's test it and see. So this is just it's is for the creating of a new task. We just like created a skeleton, like how would I even say it, just a layout for how all the new tasks would be added to. So this we are receiving only the title from the user, then we'll then fill it into this new tags that we are going to create. The ID would be automatically generated using the length of the previous tags that we have, and then done is first to false by default. Let's proceed to test. So here we'll be having post, and then we'll choose this body because we are trying to pass in an imp like a raw data. So this is our body, which we have already specified in the new tags that we are receiving title from body. So I don't know why I'm receiving an error. Maybe I need to just use this, and then let's add a title. Let's say build API, and then let's just say deploy API. So that would be our next task. So still don't know why it's showing me an error. Let's see. Value expected. Okay. No. Okay. So I think it's from the from this. So I think yeah, we are good to go now. Deploy API. So let's click on send. So as you can see now, our new record has been created. We have 201, which is a new resource was created successful. That is the code for the meaning of the code 201. So now we have our ID to be 3 because we had an existing record of 2. So we have our title, deploy API, and done first. So congratulations to us, we have created a new tag. So let's try and get all the tags. So as you can see now, we are having 3 tags all together, the first 2 by default, and then the third one that is being added. So I hope you understand everything about the posts now. So let's quickly move on to put. So put means you are updating a task, but it's done based on ID because we need to know like which of the record you are going to edit. So we are going to use a unique method of identifying which record you are going to update. So for instance, you are updating this learn express, we would have to use the ID because another task might have the title learn express. So but all of them has a different number ID for their tags. So now let's proceed. So now we have our posts.